Hey everyone, my name is Maximus Toogood. Thank you so much for listening, and the story that I've chosen to present to you guys today is Hansel and Gretel. This story starts off with a family in Germany consisting of four: a loving father, an unloving stepmother, and two children named Hansel and Gretel. They were going through a heavy famine and did not know whether they would make it to the next winter. And the stepmother told the father privately, hey, we should leave Hansel and Gretel out in the forest because we might not even survive. And the father was like, of course I won't do that. I love my kids to death. And the stepmother manipulated him into doing it anyways. Gretel, hearing this, was super sad, and she started crying to Hansel and said, Hansel, they're gonna leave us. And Hansel said, you know what? I'm gonna take pebbles and we're gonna find our way back home. And as the parents left Hansel and Gretel in the forest, he used the pebbles to find his way back home. And the dad was so happy when he made it back home with his sister, but the stepmother was not. And so the very next day, Hansel had a bunch of breadcrumbs in his pockets. And as they ventured out into the forest again, the parents left Hansel and Gretel, and the breadcrumbs got eaten by the animals. And as they got eaten by the animals, they lost their way back home. And as they were hungry, sad, tired, they stumbled upon a home. But something that was different in this home was that it was made of candy. And they started eating the candy off the walls, and out comes this witch. Hey, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, I'm sorry. We're just super hungry and lost in the forest. And the witch, otherwise known as the older lady, allows them into the home, and as they get into the home, they start eating and eating and eating, and the witch slash older lady traps Hansel, puts him in a cage, and forces Gretel to do housework. And as she's doing housework, the witch, the hideous and cruel witch, starts fattening up Hansel. And as she fattens up Hansel and forces Gretel to do labor work, the father ventures out into the forest and starts looking for Hansel and Gretel. And as Gretel was doing the housework, Hansel became plump, a big old plump 13-year-old kid. And the witch says, you know what, Gretel, turn on the oven. I'm gonna have a good feast tonight. And looks at Hansel. Gretel was like, she's gonna eat my brother, oh no. But Gretel turned on the oven, put in full heat. She asked the witch, hey, can you check this? I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not. And the witch says, you can't do anything right, Gretel. And as she walks up to the oven, Gretel pushes her in the oven as hard as she could, slams the door shut, runs to Hansel, and frees him. And as she frees him, she hears the witch, I will escape, I will get you guys. And they start running to the door, and they stumble upon a bunch of gold that the witch has accumulated throughout the years, and stuffs a bunch of gold in their pockets and runs and runs and runs. And as they run into the forest, behind them they hear, Hansel, Gretel, where are you? And they get so scared that they stop and look around, and what they see is this big figure running towards them. And it turns out to be the dad. The dad swoops them up with a big hug, takes them home, and discovers a bunch of gold in their pockets, and they live happily ever after.